Look at her. This dress is almost too bright, as if it's generating its own light. And then this background, cool, blue, still. It feels like a room where you whisper. And now, here's the thing I love about this painting. It's not just a portrait, it's also a bill. John Singer Sargent calls it Madame Paul Poirson, 1885. But according to family tradition, this portrait was supposedly created in lieu of rent, as a replacement for a rent payment. So, you rent a studio, you owe money, and you pay with a painting that hangs in a museum today. That sounds charming at first, almost like an artist myth. But when you look longer, it suddenly feels completely different. Because this face doesn't look like, "Please like me." Her gaze is calm, yes, but not inviting. It's absent, and at the same time very alert. And look at the black band around her neck, like a clear boundary, as if she had decided, "You may look at me, but you don't come closer." And that's where the story begins. Sargent had rented a studio in 1883 that belonged to Paul Poirson. If this rent for portrait story is true, that means this painting doesn't emerge from a smooth salon commission, but from a relationship where people know each other. Sargent supposedly had a friendly relationship with the Poirsons. The work was more personal than the sober business transaction might suggest. A studio in Paris, light, canvas, paint. And the question, is a successful painter currently paying with money or with prestige? Because Sargent in 1885 isn't just any painter, he's already a name. And yet, in these years he experienced something that you can sometimes feel in his portraits, this fine, careful controlling of impression. A year earlier, in 1884, Sargent had shown Madame X at the Paris Salon. A portrait so provocative that the model's mother begged him to remove it. The press tore him apart. Not because of bad painting, but because he had shown too much. Too much skin, too much attitude, too much wanting. And now, a year later, he paints Signorina. And look how different this is. No bare shoulder strap, no proud sideways glance. Instead, control, coolness. A black band around the neck like a boundary he doesn't cross this time. And now comes my favorite moment when looking at this. Look at her hands. They're calmly folded, almost polite, but not soft. This isn't a pose that says, "Like me." This is a pose that says, "I am here, and I decide how you remember me." Her name, by the way, is Signorina Cuthbert Poirson, and that matters. She was American, married into Parisian circles, and you can feel exactly this dual role in the painting. She belongs, but she remains foreign, and she knows it. And yet she remains strangely elusive on the canvas, as if Sargent had deliberately painted in the distance that this society needs to function. Because think about the logic of portraits in this era. A painting like this isn't just memory, it's position, it's reputation. It's a silent statement about who sets the rules in a room. And that's exactly why this blue in the background feels so crucial. It's not decor, it's mood, coolness, air, distance, as if the world around her becomes quieter, so that only what she can control matters, her expression. And then the small accent of color on the dress, these flowers on the bodice. Sargent could have left her completely pure, completely flawless, completely neutral. But no, he puts something living there, as if to say, beneath all this control, there's still a human being, not a statue. And now it gets interesting, because two stories are layered here. On top, a portrait of a woman in an elegant dress. Beneath, an artist who needs space, literally space, and a relationship in which a painting becomes currency. And the longer you look, the more it seems like she knew that. I imagine her sitting there, not as a model, but as a woman who feels very precisely what a portrait does to you. You don't just give the painter your face, you give him your public shadow. And Sargent, just after a year when publicity could be dangerous, doesn't paint her as warm closeness, but as sovereign distance. And now back to the rent. If this painting was really created as a replacement for money, then this isn't just a beautiful portrait. Then it's a silent contract, not signed with ink, but with gaze, light, and that black band around her neck. And once you've seen it this way, you can't unsee it. Because suddenly it becomes clear, she didn't pose for him. She let herself be painted by him, and in doing so, decided how much he was allowed to show. The rent? Sargent paid it. But the price? She set it.